All right, here we go. We are joined today. I feel like this is one of those, especially when social media first started. We follow people and we think we know them, and then you realize, like, oh, maybe no, wait, but I feel like I know you, Geoff. This is Geoff Schwartz, ladies and gentlemen. He hosts Schwartz. I can't say your name, Geoff.
It's okay. It's as long as they know I have a podcast, you can go find.
And he's smarter than you, P.S.
It's fine with me.
But I take that as an insult, kind of.
That's
like,
the
how do you
point.
prove that you're smarter than everyone on your podcast?
I want you to feel insulted, so you have to listen to my podcast. That's the way it works.
No, well, that's the only, yeah. Like, how did you know that hate makes me love? That's exactly how it works. Yeah, host of the Big Boys Club, Fox betting expert. That's where I'm gonna need your help on some stuff. And you're here because word on the street is you love the draft. You love the draft.
The NFL draft, yes. Other drafts could care
just
less
the
about.
NFL draft. Okay, so
yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Here's why. You want to know?
This is a top.
I'll give you the reason why.
Okay.
The reason why is this: the NFL draft is the only draft of the sports where you get hope at almost every level of every fan base, right? Because in the NBA, after the top 12 picks, and even some years there's no generational player, and your team still might stink if you have a lottery pick. If you in baseball, I mean, those guys take 12 years to get to the big leagues. But in football, you get Jamar Chase, you get a quarterback, you get a defensive end. I mean, your fortunes can change so quickly with just one player. And that's why I think it's exciting, is that it's the only league that offers the most hope on Thursday night, where every team feels like, every fan base, hey, we got so much better because we got X player, and that player plays right away, right? There's OTAs starting 2 weeks for rookies, and they're there. And that's why I think it's exciting.
Okay. So this is where I always sort of, the conundrum I have found myself in. I'm a sports fan. I love sports. I love watching sports. But there are certain parts of sports that I have always just been like, I don't get it. The combine being one of them, and drafts. And like, I love the NBA, right? I'm even talking about the NBA draft. All drafts to me, I don't get it, because everything you just said makes sense. And especially that you got Vegas. I love reality shows. I love all of that stuff that comes with this night. And yet, I cannot, it's like watching someone call bingo numbers. Like, maybe because, yes, you have hope, but you don't know. Like, you have no idea how this is going to pan out. And yet people watch the calling of the names, the hugging of the man, the cap being on the head. What is it? What is it that gives you the high?
Well, again, I think it's the hope, but also, like, you have to know these players. I think that's where the disconnect is, right? Like, if you don't follow college football and you don't follow kind of draft season, a lot of us, this is our job for the last 3 months. Like, we've been waiting 3 months for Thursday night. And everything we've done since the end of football season has been geared toward the draft. So you've watched the combine, which I agree can be kind of boring. But you've read scouting reports, you've watched the film. And so for a bunch of us, this is just a culmination of the last 3 months we've spent preparing for the draft. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And that's why I think I don't have a connection to the other drafts. Like the NBA draft, I watched minimal college basketball until March Madness. Like, I couldn't tell you who the top 4 players are in the NBA draft. And I'm a Lakers fan. We don't have a draft pick for another 7 years anyway. So, like, it's just, I think that's part of it. It's just, that's part of it for me, at least. And for, I think, a lot of people that enjoy the draft, is that, you spend a little bit of time preparing for this, right? You watch players, and then you have your favorite guys. Because there's, this year there's the top 2 tackles. There's the top 3 or 4 wide receivers, top quarterbacks. And so you debate with your friends which one you want. You have an idea of who you want. And then obviously you find out on Thursday whether it happens. I do think, though, that social media, when they used to tip picks, made it worse, right? Because you're sitting there watching the draft, and all of a sudden a tweet comes in with the player that's, the 3 picks ahead of the actual draft. They stopped tipping picks, and now it feels a little bit more. I mean, this year, look, there's no marquee like quarterback. There's no Trevor Lawrence top of this draft, but we don't really know what's going to happen after probably 2. 3 through 32 could be anything. And that's why I think this draft, again, there's not that quarterback at the top, but it's pretty exciting.
So obviously the structure of all drafts, we all know it's like lousy teams go first, right? So you have Jags, Lions, Texans, and I feel pretty safe in saying, like, a lot of people probably don't care about those teams, but those very same people are super pumped for Thursday. So why? Because if it's not even your team, that's the other thing that I always find fascinating. Yeah. Yes, you want to know who goes first. It's always good for trivia, yada, yada. But, like, why would I care who goes to specifically those 3 teams?
Well, do you have a favorite NFL team?
No, I mean, I was rooting for the Rams when I lived out there, so I'd probably say Rams if I had to.
Okay, so Rams, they don't have to pick to the third. Like
right.
Gabe's a Jets fan, right?
Yes.
So at pick 4, he's going to be really excited to watch and see who the Jets take. I mean, that's part of it, right? Like, so if you're a Jets fan at 4 and you have a certain player that you want, you're a fan. You say, I want to get Travon Walker from Georgia, who's probably going number 1 overall. I want to get Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati. So you're watching the first 3 picks, wondering, okay, is someone going to take the guy I want? I think that's part of the fun of this, right? Is that you're figuring out, like, I'm a Chiefs fan. We're way back in the first round, but I'm going to be watching to see, okay, pick 23 to 28. Okay, is Green Bay taking the guy that I want the Chiefs to get? Is Tennessee doing that? Someone trading up for a wide receiver or for a defensive end that I want the Chiefs to draft. So I think it's being a fan of a team certainly helps toward watching the draft. But like, if you're the Lions, man, like you had a physical year last year. I know you have Goff, whatever. But maybe you take a quarterback. I don't think it's that early in the draft, but you're probably excited for Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan to be in your roster. So I think that's all plays a role in why the draft gets so many viewership.
I know one person. Well, I know 2 people that are Detroit Lion fans. One of them works on this show, goes by the name of Q. Going on a trip tonight. We just want to shout him out. It's going to change his life. It's a life-changing trip that he's about to embark on.
It's the boldest thing I've heard someone in a strong relationship do in a long time.
I feel like we should never give the full,
Q.
but we're just going to drop nuggets about Q during the course of this podcast.
It is so bold. Like I'm afraid to tell my wife Q's doing this. Like she's going to get angry at me.
Yeah, she's going to be like, "Wait, are you thinking about doing this? This is a bad idea."
Not good.
Oh, I love it so much. He's just back there listening, cursing us. So I listen to sports talk radio all day long. So whether or not I like things, I do hear about them and absorb some.
Yes.
And what I keep hearing is QB, obviously the sexiest position on the field. So rude, by the way. It's very elitist. But no one seems overly pumped about this particular group. Is that right?
Yeah, they're not particularly great. I mean, I think that there's a possibility that 1 or 2 go in the first round. That's it. I know there's a lot of hype on quarterbacks because that's obviously the important position in football, but they're just not great. I mean, you look at Malik Willis has the number 1 kind of potential, I think, is for the elite traits he has, but he also has a huge bust potential. He's 6 feet tall, which is not typically ideal for quarterbacks drafted in the first round. He's got a good arm, but his film wasn't great at Liberty. When he played better opponents, he didn't do very well. Look at Kenny Pickett at Pittsburgh, an older quarterback, little pocket presence, a little bit iffy. Again, like not elite trait guys. Ritter, not elite traits. Accuracy, not great. Matt Corral at Ole Miss, it's just okay. I mean, I think this is why the draft this year is so unique because there really isn't a guy where people are clamoring to trade up for. I mean, next year's going to be intense. Next year's going to be crazy because there's 3 guys right now. Oh, yeah, with C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, someone will pop up as well. Like, it's going to be crazy next year. But this year, again, like, I would not be surprised if the first quarterback didn't go till 20, and that was Malik Willis. I just don't think it's going to be a draft where teams reach for quarterbacks.
Oh, okay, good. Well, because that brings me to the trades. Wait, before I do that, though, so this is your area of expertise, and I know people have devoted their entire lives to specifically doing the draft. How often will you do the entire season of research, and culminating in the night, especially the first night? And what percentage about do you feel like, yeah, we got that pretty close. That worked out.
All right, so I cover college football in the NFL, and so I don't start getting to the draft until after the football season. Like, I mean, there's guys like Daniel Jeremiah, that's all he does, right? From year, he'll start tomorrow, and he'll start watching the prospects for next year. I don't have time for that. So, I know pretty much the Pac-12 guys that cover the Pac-12 full time, and then I know the top 30 players. Like, if you quiz me right now on the 8th linebacker, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I know the top of the draft because, look, no one comes to me to hear who I think their team should take in the 5th round. But I know the first round pretty well. I know probably the top of the 2nd round. I know the Pac-12 guys. But I don't pretend to watch film on cornerbacks. I couldn't tell you Sauce Gardner, Stingley Jr., Booth from Clemson. I know their names.
Now I do too. Thank you.
I didn't watch any of those guys. Yeah, I didn't watch those guys play. I don't spend my time watching cornerbacks and safeties play. I talk to people about the draft. I read scouting reports from people that I trust, and I form enough of an opinion to get me through the first round. Because after that, again, I mean, the attention span, to your point, I think really wanes after day one. And I think it's a lot. I mean, guys, Lance Zierlein, NFL Network, is a good buddy of mine. He writes up over 300 reports, 350, 400 reports.
Mouth.
Yes. He writes up, and then and then how about this? If a guy gets drafted who did not have a report on, he has to go back after the draft and watch that player and write up a report to have it on NFL.com as like an archived draft write-up for each player. So like there's players. So like let's say some punter gets drafted for no reason in the seventh round that he has never watched. He's got to go back and watch that punter and write up a scouting report to put on NFL.com. So I watched 4 guys. He watches 400 guys. Like it is intense how much film he watches. But again, they start year round. Like again, tomorrow or Friday, I guess, they'll probably start on 2023 guys. That's just the way it is.
And it's not like, cause like in the NBA, because obviously as a Spurs fan, they've gone a few years where they randomly pick someone no one's ever heard of, some guy from Europe, whatever. Like that doesn't really happen, right? In football, like there's pretty much it's a pool. It's a very large pool, but there's no rando that's coming over from like Italy to be a kicker.
No.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, you get those undrafted guys that are like wrestlers or, and sometimes former basketball players, but very rarely are they drafted. The NBA is unique just because of the international flavor of it, right? So as you point, like you can get guys from overseas and, they don't play in the NBA right away either, which is kind of like the baseball draft, right? You draft a guy and then, 3 years from now, like they show up. You're like, oh yeah, I remember we drafted him 3 years ago. That's what makes the NFL so unique. All 7 of your guys you draft, let's say you have 7 draft picks, they're going to be in rookie minicamp next weekend. Awesome. Like you're going to get to watch them on the field right away. And they might not all make the team, but you get immediate like reaction and feedback, and you get to see them on, in your team's helmet and whatnot, which is just different than all their sports.
I also think like when you're talking about the quarterbacks like Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett, they're not elite, or how much that must motivate a young person, like just to hear because it's like us applying for a job and then sort of eavesdropping on the people making the decisions and hearing them say she doesn't really have it, but and you're like, oh, I'm going to go in there and kill everybody. I'm a crush.
Yeah, but you have to have the physical gifts to do that, right? Like I would have loved to be a better offensive lineman. I just didn't have some of those physical gifts. Like I tried my best.
Aww.
It wasn't like a lack of effort. But sometimes you just don't have those gifts. Like if your arm is not strong enough, you can do some mechanical things to make it better, but it kind of just is what it is. Now you make up for that with timing and with knowing what you're doing and kind of some other things you can help with your game. But sometimes you just don't have those physical traits to be as good as you want to be. And that's what I tell people all the time, like these Hall of Fame players in all sports. I mean, they're physically just better gifted. I mean, they just have better talents. And do they work any harder than other guys? I don't know. Probably not. I think there's some guys that do. We've heard about legendary work ethics, but it's just that like they're just better. They're better talented. And I think that while I can say, hey, Kenny Pickett doesn't have these traits. Okay, he could maybe try to get his arm better, but it's probably not going to happen.
He's like, I'm going to make my arm better if it kills me. So you mentioned the trade thing. We've got like the 2 names that come to mind right away: Deebo Samuel, who wants out, Baker Mayfield, who needs a gig. Anything that we can predict there? Like, is something going to happen sooner rather than later?
Mayfield might get traded on Friday or Saturday to the Panthers. I feel like the Panthers are at 6 right now, and their plan, I think the best way to win, and they have a coaching staff that needs to really win, otherwise they're going to be out, is to draft an offensive tackle at 6 or trade back and then get Baker Mayfield and work on the salary. They're not going to pay him $18 million. But it feels like, a healthy Baker Mayfield, you win 8 or 9 games, you save your job. And that feels like the spot where he might end up. Maybe Seattle. I don't really see the fit as much in Seattle. And then Deebo Samuel is interesting because Deebo has really only played about 13 games at the level that we've seen him at. And if you're a team, I think you're a little bit concerned about trading for a player who doesn't even have a full season worth of film at an elite high level. And what made him special, and he was a good wide receiver, but what made him kind of special was the running back part of it, right? Was moving around the field. He said he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be running a back anymore. So now you're taking him out of what made him an extra special player and just becomes a wide receiver again. He doesn't get moved tomorrow, or he gets moved maybe after the draft for a pick next year. But I think teams will be hesitant to trade for Deebo Samuel.
That's fascinating to me that he's like, I don't want to do half of what has made me me. Because you have to wonder what his representation, what kind of conversations they have behind closed doors. Like, hey, dude, the money, if you want all the money, you got to do it all, right? Like, you can't say I'm not going to do the thing that made me me.
Yeah, but he did. I think he had 1,400 yards receiving last year, so he had a good year receiving. It's just that the running back position is where you get injured, right? It's where you get beat up. I get him saying he doesn't want to do that, but that's also what makes him the special player that he is, and he's not going to be able to do that anywhere else. I mean, this offense is perfectly tailored to what he does. It's just interesting how, and look, and I'm all for player movement and players getting paid. I mean, that's I love it. But it is interesting how we're getting to a point where, I mean, Guy has had one good season. He's like, I'm out. I'm getting traded. Like, get me out of here. And it's really moved now. The NFL has into a really more of a player-friendly model, kind of like the NBA, where players control a lot more of the movement, just because it never used to be that way. I mean, you after one season of good play, he's asking out just because he wants to. It's like, all right, I'm over this. Put me somewhere else.
Change of scenery.
It's never been like that in the NFL until the last couple of years.
I mean, it is, and I know it's such a crazy sort of recent years topic that it infuriates some fans, which I've always sort of questioned, like why are you so angry about where people want to work, because you have the same options in your own life. But I mean, I like it like to a point. Obviously I don't like it when it torpedoes teams like the Brooklyn Nets kind of situation, but I do think everyone should have a right to say where the hell I want to go. But I this is the part I like. I will say this about drafts, and this holds true through the past decades in all of the sports, but really, I mean, football and NBA, the fashion. Where are we going with the fashion? Can I expect anything like Met Gala worthy? What are we doing?
You're asking the wrong person. Did you think I was like someone else was coming on to talk fashion? I mean, I'm wearing I've wore this black Callaway polo, free sponsorship opportunity here at Callaway.
Shout out.
For like the last seven podcasts I've done. Like it's just with me at all times. No, I don't know what the fashion. I feel like we're going backwards though, right? There's been some fashion. We saw like Bieber's oversized suit was like the 2003 NBA draft action. So maybe we're going backwards here. The question I have about the draft, NFL draft, is each player is taking a gondola ride, like basically from like the staging area to Goodell. It's like over like the water.
Okay.
How many guys ruin their suits by falling out of there, or like jumping in the pool and what? I mean, they're gonna wear some expensive clothing, and we'll find out. I can't pull any of that off, man. So good for them. I'm glad that they're wearing very expensive clothes and can afford it and look very good. I'd wear a suit.
What is the insight on that? Like, because you got a kid. You're a kid yesterday. You're a college kid yesterday. Thursday, you are now a paid professional, right? But how does the stuff part happen? Because you'll see guys will show up with fancy suits, fancy shoes, Louboutins, jewelry, watches, and I'm like, how does that work? Somebody just give it to them and say, go wear this today? Or
they have less Louboutins than you do.
Shut
apparently.
your mouth,
Look at
Jeffrey.
that.
I've been working my whole
impressive.
life for this dream.
That's impressive. Look, the agents and whatnot front the players the money. I mean, or they get sponsorship deals, right, for suits and for whatnot. I mean, that's what it comes down to, I think. And the culture now is changing even more, where agents are just having to kind of pay players for them to sign with them, so they give them stipends and whatnot. And then also, with name and likeness now, some of these players are coming out of college with a lot of money, and so they're able to afford much different clothing options and jewelry than players in the past were able to do. So part of that is just a changing industry where players are making their own money now. Agents are giving players a little bit of money, and they're getting sponsorship deals. If you have X amount of followers on Instagram and you post a thing, hey, I'm wearing someone's jewelry, I'm wearing someone's suit, if they sell 2 or 3 of those, then they made their money.
I love it.
Back.
It's like a Cinderella night. Just blossom. We just get to watch these young men
Yes,
blossom. This is my
exactly,
favorite part.
yeah.
All right, we're taking a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about football, but we're going to talk about it in terms of food, and that is how you get my attention. Welcome back. We know that Jeff's smarter than us, but we also know that Jeff is, although I would argue this one, smarter than us in also food. Now I accept this challenge. And so we've figured out a way. I say we figured it out. I think that remains to be seen. Gabe, the man who did not even try to brush his hair today, is here, and he's going to help us through. He looks like a crazed person that makes bombs in his garage. But that's not true.
Instead of bombs, it's just Tom Brady blogs. He
Yeah,
just reads
all day, just type it away angrily.
Yeah.
So, Gabe, what is the deal? You're going to give us the top 10 teams in the draft.
Yeah.
And then what? Food?
And then I'm going to give you a choice between one of 2 types of food that they need. The food that they need is an analogy for the kind of player that they need. So the discerning audience member is going to learn something about who they're going to pick in the real draft based on Jeff's food take.
Yes!
Does that make sense? Yeah, close enough.
Whatever you say, producer.
Yeah, okay, so let's do
All
the
right.
first one, and maybe it'll make sense.
Here we go. Number 1, Jags. Should they take shrimp and grits? Hard to screw it up, but also hard to make it great. Or should they go with Waffle House? Big, fat, guaranteed to fill you up. Who knows how nutritional it is?
So are we saying that like
We already confused.
Wait a minute. Are we saying pick a fat guy or pick a...
So who's Travon Walker in this? He's the shrimp and grits? You can screw it up easily?
Yeah, he's shrimp and grits. Yeah.
Okay, because you screw up the shrimp and grits easily, or Waffle House, you know what you're getting. Okay, there we go. I got it. I'd go Waffle House. I take Aiden Hutchinson and be done with it. Like you had Urban Meyer this past year. You need to just draft someone that's going to be good. And Travon Walker, it can shrimp. You overcook it a little bit, you undercook it a little bit. Find that medium ground. Walker, I think, has a chance to just not be good in the NFL. He'd be the least productive defensive end drafted in the first round. First overall ever. So I take Waffle House.
Well, by the way, yeah, I feel like. Okay, shrimp and grits can get real gluey. Yeah, you don't want that. Waffle House. But when you say big and fat, Gabe, it's like, what am I asking here? Rude. Go on.
Well, you're taking from that something that I didn't say.
You can also put Waffle House and be like Evan Neal too, off at the tackle. But I don't think they're taking the tackle.
There you go. But should they? Maybe they should have just a big fat filling meal.
They just paid their left tackle today, so I doubt it.
Like today, they did. So no, that's not happening.
Wow.
Literally today.
Waffle House can mean a lot. Okay, fine. All right, I like this. Okay. I also just like dreaming about these foods as you say them. So go.
Waffle House.
Feel free to analyze the food half of this, Beadle.
I mean,
I'm just
the
giving
next
you
one's
options.
interesting.
All right, so we're in Detroit now, the second pick. Should they go with a Coney dog? Lots of towns have something like that. Or should they go with Detroit-style pizza? Thick, chewy, filling. Not that healthy. I wouldn't even say it's the best kind of pizza available, but, people love it.
You know who likes Detroit pizza? Q. You know what Q's about to go do? The worst mistake he'll ever make. The worst.
I love Detroit-style pizza. It was one of my favorite parts about being there for a couple months. Okay, so Detroit-style pizza is Aiden Hutchinson, if he's there, available at 2, I guess. That's what it is?
Sure, yeah.
I like that.
Right, I just picked him 1, obviously, but he's not going number 1. All right, yeah, I would take the next best available defensive end. If it's Walker, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, it feels like Detroit style. I don't know why a Coney dog made it into Detroit at all. I feel like that's
because everyone.
Quincy's late ad here is that actually we should be talking about chili cheese fries or crispy fries. Apparently they do that well in Detroit. I don't know how that works with our analogy.
I don't know either.
I'll take the pizza. Give me the pizza.
I also think Detroit-style pizza is underrated, so I don't know if that can apply as well. But it's highly underrated in the city pizzas. Like I think it's better than Chicago. Yeah. I'll just say that.
Well, Chicago's a lasagna.
Thank you, and it's by the way delicious. I'm not saying it's not.
But it's a lasagna. It's okay.
One piece is like 2 meals, and I eat a lot, so that's saying something. All right. I like this. This is fun, actually, because now I'm starting to get it a little more. All right, Gabe, keep going. Ow, food.
Okay, number 3, the Texans. Should they go with a nice piece of brisket? It's very filling, not always healthy, but it's there. It's hearty. It's what you need. Or taco trucks, delicious, but like you're only gonna want more. It's not gonna be exactly what you need. It's not everything you need.
Oh, how many tacos do you eat? You need to eat more tacos.
You just eat more.
Eat more tacos.
6 instead of 3. What's wrong with you? Oh
man. All right. I don't know. I mean, I guess all these things get the hearty meals, right? I think they're going to take the tacos. They'll take a cornerback or something that we're not like Stingley Jr. Who we're kind of not quite sold on. Instead of the offensive lineman, probably at 3. But Houston just always takes the tacos. In that analogy, they always do the worst thing possible.
That's what I thought.
So yeah. I'll go. But tacos are the best thing possible, though, because they're one of the best foods of all time. Breakfast taco is an elite food. Tacos are
breakfast
elite.
Tacos is one of the things I missed most about San Antonio. Because California does breakfast burritos, and it's not even remotely close.
The burrito, the breakfast burrito, I feel is too filling.
It's too much.
Like the breakfast taco with the eggs, it just the textures work very
Potato
well
and egg
together.
with a good salsa. You just color me happy. Yeah, that's it.
Done.
That's all I need.
Done.
By the way, all of this was just to get to number 4, wasn't it, Gabe? You son of a.
Yeah, it was. But can I ask you a question? Because I didn't want to put this in and then get murdered for it because I'm not a Texan. If I had said migas, the breakfast food they have there in Austin, I don't know if it made its way to San Antonio.
Yeah, it's Tex-Mex, asshole.
I don't know. So is Houston a place where you can get migas?
You can get Tex-Mex everywhere. Like obviously some cities are probably a little bit better Tex-Mex than others, but you can definitely get migas anywhere. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is that,
All right,
is
we're
that
up
your
to the
thing?
Jets.
That's what you remember about Austin? Migas? Interesting.
I've had hungover migas
delicious.
each time I've been in Austin.
Yeah, all right. I don't...
By the way, I'll be in Austin for a bachelor party, but a sanctioned, nothing like this Q nonsense, what he's up to. Fully above board, explained.
So no
bachelor
shenanigans
party that all,
for you.
Of course.
You're not abandoning your entire family and just disappearing for life?
Well, he is.
Of
but
course I am.
sanctioned.
But I'm bringing in extra staffing. I've got a whole
Yes.
Wow.
That's the key, right? Is when I go out of town too, I make sure that the sitter is there. Like she already texted me today, like, hey, what are the activities today that your kids are doing for after work? Like we're all ready to
That's
go. Like
awesome.
Gabe's smart. You have to bring in the sitter, man. You have to do it yourself, not on the wife. The husband has to.
Yeah,
do
you're
it.
basically doing the job you would have done at home, but through someone else.
Yes.
You don't want to just leave.
And paying them a lot of money.
I mean, I hope Q... Did Q mute us? I hope he's... Q, I hope you're listening. Okay.
This show, by the way, Q's here and he's listening. Q, keep taking notes.
Love you, Q.
This show is now an analogy that includes off-air
Yes.
jokes. So if people are
Yes.
listening and feeling confused, you're right to feel
By the
that.
way, in fairness,
This is-
Dan Le Batard built an empire on that theory.
That's true.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Let's keep
Inside
rolling. Number
jokes.
4.
Okay, go.
My former Jets, another inside joke. My former Jets. You can choose between Chinese food, filling, tasty, absolutely no nutritional value, and risky some places in New York City, or cheesecake,
Overrated.
delicious, bad for you, and Beadle just said it, overrated. I don't know what the hell she means by that.
Well, it's cake.
Cheese. I saw that tweet about cake. I'm not a dessert person, so I'm with you there a little bit. But cheesecake, yeah, I don't know. I have not had cheesecake since I went to Cheesecake Factory a couple years ago, and I saw how many calories were in one cheesecake. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that ever again. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth the calories. It's not worth it. So, Gabe, I'm going to go with Chinese food for the Jets.
Are the
and
Jets
in that
ever going
case,
to be
who is Chinese food?
like? What do you mean?
I guess so. Here's the thing about the where the Jets are at. So they can take a pass rusher, most likely, right? They're going to either probably have Hutchinson or
How many
Walker,
Hutchinsons
or
are
probably
there? I
KT
feel like
there.
he's been drafted 4 times.
Well, it's one, but the problem is he might. I guess he's not going to go.
Okay, fair.
He's not going to go
Okay,
4.
fair.
They're going to have Kayvon Thibodeau or Travon Walker, or they're going to have a corner, right? One of the top corners there. That's Chinese food, right?
Okay.
Pass rusher, cornerback. They get screwed up by taking off at the tackle, in my opinion. They don't need one right now.
God, I just want him to get it right. Just in my lifetime.
Zach Wilson's not going to be. Is not the guy. So they're
God,
not.
that's
gonna
so
get it right.
hopeless, isn't it? Just so hopeless.
That's why Gabe is now a Chargers fan, which is equally.
No,
as hopeless,
Gabe
which
is a traitor
terrible.
and a sellout. That's what Gabe is. He has sold out all of his lifelong loves for sexy LA picks. Nobody likes that.
Yeah, real sexy. They didn't even make the playoffs. Well, how sexy was that? I
Still
had to
sexy,
be a Rams
still
fan
LA.
all postseason.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
Who says that? Go on. Yeah, you would have never
No
been a
one does.
Giants fan if the Jets didn't make the playoffs. That's how that works. You would have never.
Very well said, which gets us to the Giants. So we're sticking with the
Second.
New York theme here. Chicken parm sandwich
Overrated.
or an old school New York City steak place, something in Midtown. All right?
Oh, the steak place. The Giants. I've thought about this draft a lot, obviously, if you can tell. And the Giants are in the best spot of any team, I think. Right? They have picked 5 and 7, and they literally can't screw this up. Like there are teams that can screw up the draft, but the Giants are going to be in a spot to take an offensive tackle at 5. Most likely at 5, they'll take an offensive tackle, and then at 7, you have the best defensive end left or the best corner left. Like you can't screw this up. I feel like if you go to a steakhouse, you go to Peter Luger's, you go to Smith & Wolenski's, you go to one of those places, they never screw the steak up, right? They never screwed up. They know how to do it now. The Giants 5 and 7. It's almost you can't. Screw
I like that
this
you
up.
said
And so I'll
almost.
go with a steak.
On a scale of 1 to 10, if
Well-
they did screw it up, how shocked would you be?
With this new staff, I'd be very
Okay,
shocked. If it was Dave Gettleman, they would 100% screw it up. But not
Shade.
now. I think that these Bills guys are not screwing
Okay.
it up.
Yeah, steak place, a New York City specifically steak place. That's you're not.
Oh, they're
you're never
so good.
disappointed
Oh,
ever.
oof. No.
All right.
Here's a vote for Keen's, not far from the Garden.
I've been
Okay.
there before.
Yeah, good place. Okay, the Panthers are at 6. This is Jeff's hometown team now. So, Carolina barbecue or Bojangles fried chicken. I don't know what to make.
Bojangles.
Well, I got
Bojangles.
excited.
Bojangles is let's go Bojangles here. I don't like Carolina barbecue. I'm not a vinegar
Not
fan.
me neither.
So Carolina
That one's
barbecue
overrated.
Is not my
Oh,
thing.
sure.
I think so too, and it's really Eastern Carolina, anyways. Bojangles. Look, the Panthers are going to take old reliable offensive tackle. I think it's 6, and Bojangles is very reliable. So, Bojangles is good. I haven't had it. Their breakfast is elite.
What is the breakfast? Like a chicken biscuit?
Chicken biscuit. They also have this Bowberry biscuit. It's like a blueberry biscuit with like icing on top.
What?
It's been quite a while since I've been there, but Chick-fil-A has taken over my kid's life.
Yeah.
I didn't know really what Chick-fil-A was till I had kids. Like I never ate there. I don't think until I had kids. And my kids, they just Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A's I'm convinced. So I'm not a Chick-fil-A and I'm not a Starbucks person. I'm not really a coffee person, in fairness, but I'm convinced especially those two establishments, have put something in the food and drink that has formed cults with everyone who's ever consumed their products. I've never seen anything like it.
I don't think Starbucks is that good. I don't think it's that good.
It's not at all. Like when I did drink coffee for 10 minutes, I didn't think it was good at all.
Chick-fil-A though is elite. It's very
I don't
good.
trust a place not open on Sundays. Sundays when I do my best work. You know, that's when I got to go out.
I have driven there on I haven't driven there on Sundays. Been quite upset with Chick-fil-A. Yeah. I'll go Bojangles biscuit off the tackle at 6.
Okay, I like that.
I feel like Jeff's been a little too liberal with the use of the word elite, and there's been too many things described that way.
Whoa.
It is my word right now because of the draft. Like it's been.
Good draft
I will
word.
say it's. How about awesome sauce? It's awesome
Yes,
sauce.
we're back. We are back.
Fine. All right, here's the Giants. Now, you said they can't possibly screw it up. Here's their chance.
Oh, God.
This can get screwed up. Even in New York, you can make a bad choice. But your two choices here are a thin slice, just a regular slice of pizza, or a bagel and schmear. Jeff, go.
Oh,
You can screw those up, but if you do, you're an idiot. But yeah.
I can't believe that you put those together at the same.
I know.
Same
I wanted to make this
I'm
hard
I
very
for
like
upset.
that you
I'm very
did
upset
though
with you.
because they're two staples of New York eating that can go wrong, unfortunately.
Sure, but here's why I'll go with the bagel. I'm not even. This is not even a football analogy. You can get good pizza elsewhere. Like you can get good pizza. I mean, it's maybe not the quality of New York pizza, but you can get good pizza a lot of places now.
Yeah.
The bagel you can't do. Like you just can't do the bagel
Never
anywhere
have.
else. You can try. There's a good place in Charlotte down the street from me. Like it's okay, it's good, but it's not a New York bagel. And
By the way, can I ask you
to
this?
me-
When you eat the one in Charlotte, do you look around at anyone who's listening and go, "It's just not a New York bagel"? Because I love when people.
No,
do
I will. No, I don't think that. I mean, I put a little bagel and lox on there, and I feel a little schmear lox, some red onions there, delicious. My kids love bagels too, which makes me very proud. I was very taken aback by a take this week on Twitter that someone, remain nameless, said that he only eats bagels with butter, and I was very upset about that.
First of all, that's what terrorists do, and that's actually a fact. I know that. Secondly, who was this person so that we can?
Yeah,
It was
let's
Dan
not.
Orlovsky.
Yeah,
It
he
was.
doesn't need to
Oh,
remain
yeah,
nameless.
you know what? His food takes are hot garbage.
They're
Like-
very bad. It bothered me
Yeah.
very much.
No, that's not right. That's that just means he's
okay.
never had a great bagel. I feel like he's only had like crappy
Yes.
bagels that you put in the freezer and then shove in a toaster. That's not a bagel.
Yeah, no,
Bless
it's
his
not.
heart.
But a good bagel to me is I'm going good bagel here at 7.
All right.
I disagree with the food part of this take. I don't even know what the football answer was, but the food part is wrong because the delta between New York pizza and elsewhere pizza and New York bagel and elsewhere pizza, it's a much wider gap with pizza than bagel.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, because you want to
it's
know
not.
why? Italy still exists. And as long as Italy still exists, there's a great piece of pizza sitting around. But you know what?
Dude,
Italy
you can
doesn't have bagels.
Like our friend Dan Rubenstein makes incredible pizzas. Like he can
Really?
make incredible bagels. The pizzas are really good. Like you can do it. You can't make a bagel.
You
at
cannot.
Home.
It's something about the water. It's something about
Yeah.
the water. I've never. Why do you think I gold belly bagels from New York? That's what I like. H&H or wherever. I'm like, these are my bagels.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just
you're
saying.
wrong.
I'm
Gabe.
not.
Look, we have pained Gabe. He's in a lot of pain
he's
right
not.
now. With this.
Well,
It's
you
just fine.
you brought up Rubenstein. I'm going to mention it.
by the way,
because the
wait a
Beatles
minute.
trying
You're
to
from
ignore
that
this.
freaking
Yeah.
New Row where has that pizza place, which isn't technically Manhattan, and that has good
Yeah.
pizza that you swore by for years.
Yes, that's right. Sal's Pizza in Mamaroneck,
Right.
New York.
Thank you.
What's the question here? That's
well,
the best
you're saying
thing
New York
on earth.
Yeah, but it's not New York City pizza. It's suburbs pizza,
Oh, jeez.
and it's good
Okay.
pizza.
Yeah,
It's the best.
you just lost your argument.
Okay, I'm going to win this argument right now, and I don't care, Geoff, if you disagree. Beadle had this insane take we just sped right past about cake on last episode of the show. She said that cake is overrated.
Right.
Now,
double down.
This is blasphemous as far as I'm concerned. Dan Rubenstein weighed in and agreed and said cake is overrated. Mm-hmm. Where are you?
A lot of smart people did.
I guess I don't know like what rate it is for cake. Like I only have it at like kids' birthday,
and that's
parties.
like the worst kind. Usually,
like do people? Well, this is a little bougie take, but like the kids that we roll with, like their parents are getting a good cake.
I love that.
So like the cake they're getting is not like the cakes that my wife orders is from like this bakery that's freaking incredible. So, like, I guess I don't know where cake is rated. Like, I don't eat cake regularly. It's properly rated, I think, for, like, when I eat it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is a good piece of cake.
Like, I could go the rest of my life without a piece of cake. Easily.
Yeah, I could too. But, like, I don't know if that means it's overrated.
Of course it does.
I don't know.
I couldn't go the rest of my life without a slice of pizza or a bowl of pasta or a bowl of ice cream or powdered donut. Like, I need all those things.
Like, yeah, I'm more of a salt. So, like, I couldn't go, like, without chips or French fries.
Oh, no, never. No. Fajitas.
Yeah.
No. All my point was, Gabe, there are some good cakes, but the bad cakes far outweigh the good cakes, which makes the overall topic of cakes overrated.
So you're saying bundt cake is ruining it for
right.
all the other great cakes.
Bundt cake, sheet cake.
Bundt cake is good.
Whenever people get weird about flavor, and stop making matcha desserts. Nobody wants that, guys.
No.
Nobody wants that. I speak for everyone.
Is matcha still a thing? I thought like that ended like 6 months ago on Instagram. I haven't seen any matcha people on Instagram.
If I want to eat grass, I'll go outside and eat grass. That's not hard.
I think we're up to number 8, which is the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know what to make of this.
Ooh.
Your choices are chicken wings, which I'm going to say might come from a certain kind of establishment in Atlanta where I'm told they have very good chicken wings. Or chicken and waffles, comfort food, filling, probably ubiquitous in the city.
That one's hard.
The chicken and waffles thing, like, when I first heard about it, I was like, that's not going to be good. And every time I eat it, it's delicious. It just works. It works well. Atlanta needs some chicken and waffles. They need to draft a player that just works for them. Defensive end, most likely. I would imagine at 8. Maybe they go. I think they would love to trade out of that position too. But I think defensive end at 8. Maybe wide receiver. The wide receivers, we can't name any of them. We talked about this on my show the other day. So I would say wide receiver or defensive end. Chicken and waffles there. That's so good. Ooh, delicious.
I think they don't have any wide receivers anymore.
So they need that,
and they're going to need one, even if they don't have a quarterback.
That Calvin really got suspended for parlays. I mean, what a waste.
That can still, like, before the season starts, that can be changed. I mean, they made the rule; they can change it, right? Like, sure.
No, he's not. They're not going to change the gambling stuff.
I can't understand, like.
Because they view it as an intent. So the NFL. This is the sad part about the way they view a lot of things. It's about like the integrity of the game, right? And that to them is more important than like domestic violence. We've talked about this on our show a bunch. Like, to them, like, the integrity of people questioning whether or not the results of games are fixed is far worse. To them, is far worse than whether they like a player or not because of what happened off the field. So, like, that to them, like, the gambling, even the Calvin really he didn't throw a game, but now, after he got, was found out he was gambling, then everyone went back and found every one of the plays where he fell down too early, or he just like he didn't get a first down. Like, see, he's throwing the game. It's like the NFL doesn't.
So they did more research on that than Deshaun Watson's accusers. I'm going to go back and watch tape, but I'm not going to ask any of those women anything. That's no, we don't have time for that. That's weird. It's so silly to me because also you have these monster deals with gambling entities.
No, you're right.
It's just, if you drop me down on the planet out of nowhere, none of this makes sense. None of it.
You're right. No, you're right.
But chicken wings would be the receiver here, no? That's the sexier pick?
Yeah.
Are chicken wings sexier than chicken and waffles? I guess so. For sure.
Yeah, chicken wings equal receiver. Chicken and waffles equal like alignment.
I think.
Yeah.
Since this is a very fat thing right here, but last night I ordered some chicken wings.
Oh my god!
In the hotel.
Awesome.
There's a Korean restaurant downstairs. And I have some leftovers. They're very good. Korean chicken wings from last night.
By the way, chicken wings.
I'll have them afterwards, I think.
Never overrated. perfectly rated as perfect. Yep. See?
They can be too breaded, I feel like.
I try not to
sometimes.
do with that much
Overbreaded.
of that one.
Yeah.
I prefer
Okay.
I prefer the chicken.
Fair enough. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I won't eat chicken wings in certain cities in this country, and you have to ask. In some places, you get a feeling.
What's the question that you asked to get that?
Are these things going to be breaded or not?
Ah,
And if they're like, yeah,
Okay, fair
what?
enough.
that's
like,
a chicken
you need
tender.
to know that.
That's a tender. And now we've left wings. Okay, go on.
All right, number 9, Seattle. They could go crab legs,
Delicious.
boil them up, add some butter, fine. Or high risk fugu sushi.
Yes.
Delicacy.
Like
But deadly.
what is fugu sushi?
That's the blowfish that can kill you.
Oh, Pete Carroll's going to do the blowfish that'll kill you, 100%. Like whatever is the thing that is the worst for them, they're going to do at 9.
I like that.
They'll draft Desmond Ridder or something like that. That's Pete Carroll and a heart. That's what blowfish. Yes,
Blowfish.
100%.
And also, blowfish is always going
Blowfish
to win.
from Seattle.
That's a good one, Gabe. I like
Have you
that
had
one.
that before? I would try that.
I would try.
I'd
Look,
try
it depends on
blowfish.
where I am. Like, I'm not going to a gas station and getting blowfish sushi, but I will go to like a high end place. Like, I'll try it somewhere else. I need to know. I've never heard of anyone dying from it, but I do know that they say it's a possibility.
Does Bucky's down there in Texas have a
Buc-ee's.
blowfish sushi?
You know what?
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's a whole sushi
They
counter.
probably do.
They do. I'm sure
Do
they
you know,
do.
when I went to Buc-ee's last spring in Denton, like the huge one. It's out like by North Texas.
Yeah.
And it was so big, I had to FaceTime my wife and show. I was like, "This, you won't believe this. Look at this."
That's
thing."
how I felt.
I just walked her around Denton. It was unbelievable.
I've never seen it because they
Crazy
weren't
thing.
here when I was here. So I came back and felt like a tourist from God knows where because there's like 140 gas pumps, Gabe, at one of these. 140.
They have like 85 types of beef jerky. Like they have a full service food. Like they have food
Anything.
and meals and jerky and
Furniture,
It's unbelievable.
whatever you want, they got it. Whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Yes.
Bucky's got it.
Big fan of the real truck stops in America.
Oh,
like
I love them.
You know, those with the showers in them and like the
Oh, yeah.
cassette tapes, like Willie Nelson cassette tapes. Like, give me those places
It's
all
weird
day
that the
long.
shower's the part you remember. How many showers have you taken in truck stops?
I've never done it, but obviously others have.
You just like to know that someone could. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a good option in case.
The idea that someone could shower makes me really
So
excited.
weird, but okay.
All right,
Sure.
here's a team that needs to take a long, cold shower.
Come on.
They have 2 picks in the top 10, just like the team shares a stadium with them. We're talking the Jets again. Are they going with the 24-hour diner? Everything's fine, probably nothing's great. Or are they going full-on risk mode street meat truck? Hammered.
I was hoping you would do street meat truck, either pick 4, 5, or 7. And the answer is 100% street meat.
Okay.
Every single time, street meat. Whenever that's my favorite thing in New York City.
It would be.
Extra white sauce.
Extra white sauce.
I just love street meat's the
Street
best.
meat.
Because
I feel
it's,
like street meat trucks maybe 10, 15 years ago were like questionable. But some of the food trucks now in the world are like the best food.
Yeah, but those aren't the street meat.
Oh, you're
trucks.
talking like
Gabe's not
hot
talking
dog
about
water,
those.
like dirty water hot dogs?
Like the Hello Brothers on like 53rd and 6th. Like that's what we're doing.
Okay, I'm in on that.
Right? Like that's what we're talking about, right? Like,
That's even high
or
end.
worse.
I'm talking like
high end. You're talking about like the
Euro?
44th
like the
and 8th, like hot dog in the water.
Dirty water dogs. P.S. Also good.
My favorite story about that too is like, where do they pee? Like they stand there for 12
there.
hours.
You're looking
it's
at
gotta
it.
be in the hot dog water, right?
mean,
yeah, that's what I figured. That's what makes the
You
extra
just wear
flavor
dark
in there.
pants and do what you got to do. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, especially in the
Yeah.
summer.
Oh God. Standing.
Beadle,
delicious.
I've been to dinner a few times with Geoff.
Yeah.
And I remember, he might dispute this, but I remember going to a nice dinner in Midtown Manhattan
Okay.
a few years ago with Geoff. Some company we both worked at was paying for the meal. Everyone could order everything they wanted.
Always good.
We were there. We had a big meal, a few drinks, etc. We're walking back to the hotel where everyone is staying, and Geoff stopped to get street meat after eating dinner.
What did I eat? Did I actually eat a lot of dinner? or
I
not?
don't remember, but you had the option. You could have eaten anything you wanted at this restaurant.
Wait, where do we eat dinner at?
Some place in Grand Central. It was like a fish place.
The
the
oyster
oyster
place
place.
downstairs.
Yeah.
At the very bottom, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I ate very. I think I came late to that. I didn't eat very much,
Maybe.
and then I probably got street meat afterwards. That sounds about
It's like
right.
a dessert.
I've been with Dan before. I went and we had ramen in New York City. Then we decided we were still hungry and went and had tacos.
You were still hungry
not-
after ramen? I mean, I guess.
Well, a bowl of ramen
Yeah.
can be not.
Depends
that
on what they
filling,
put
I
it. Yeah,
guess.
you're right. It depends.
Yeah. So then we got tacos afterwards. Delicious.
I have no.
You
I have
can't be
no
in New
judgment.
York. Yeah, you can't be in New York with Rubenstein and not get tacos. Well, I don't know who this show was for, other than the 3 or 4
Us.
people who are working on it. Jeff, what are you saying the Jets are picking, football player wise, with 10?
I think at 10 they're going to pick a wide receiver, which is not really street meat, but I think they pick a wide receiver at 10, whether it's Wilson or London. Those feel like maybe Jameson Williams, who won't be ready to play probably for the season, but might be the best of all 3 of those guys.
Jameson, that's the best name in the whole draft. Period.
And then Gabe will be a Jets fan when they start.
I mean,
winning
look,
again.
4 New York team picks in the top 10, and it's not the draft's not even in New York anymore. Like that's so really, it's a missed opportunity, isn't it?
It is. I like it moving around though. The city seems.
I
to
also
love it.
think everything should be in Vegas. Every event for everything. I'm okay with it.
It's moving that way. Like everything's going to be in the West
Yeah, I like
Coast
it.
now.
I vote for that. I vote for that. We're taking a break. When we come back, I just want you to tell the world where they can find you in all of the places. Have you learned anything today, Q? Are you going to take any of the advice that Jeff's given you, Gabe's given you, I've given you? Are you going to listen to any of us?
I'm going to take the advice for next time, but for now, I'm going to just go enjoy myself and hope for the best.
Buddy.
Like Jeff said it best, you got to get
Final last words?
Cute.
get a babysitter. I would do that for next time, get a babysitter that can come watch her for hours and then,
next time. There's no next time, Q. There's no next time.
This is it, pal. Enjoy your 48 hours of freedom, because it's all going to be over after this.
I'm looking for an
I
excuse to come
just-
live with you, Gabe. I'm coming. I'll just come stay with you.
All right.
I love it.
I'm gonna try to find. I'm trying to get a reaction from my wife here in a
good.
second. I'm hoping she answers before the end
I
of
love
this.
this.
Yeah. So, and how old's your kid?
She's 2.5.
Oh yeah.
The absolute. I get to say this. Quincy's daughter is lovely, but she's a 2.5-year-old girl. The absolute worst age to leave any child with any other human is 2.5. That sucks so bad.
Exact window.
It's truly the worst.
My kid's not as bad as your
Yeah, I
kids, though,
mean,
Gabe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
She be chilling. She's an easy 2-year-old.
That is.
He got 3
Fight words,
kids.
right?
Cool.
Like,
Well-
2 of them came out at the same time. So it's like, all right, one might be cool, but the other
Which
one's
is
gonna
weird.
probably it's a lot that go into it compared
That's
to my
fair.
one.
That's fair.
Good point. You know what, Q? But you just decided you're moving in with me, so you're their new caretaker because
new
you're done
nanny.
with your family. You're coming in and being part of mine now. Thanks.
Oh, I love this. Jeff, where are people supposed to find you? Where can they hear you?
Yeah, my podcast, Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You. Also on Twitter at Geoff Schwartz, and my show, Big Boys Club. We talk to the 5 offensive linemen in the draft, 5 of the offensive linemen in the draft. It's on YouTube, and then individual episodes I put on my Twitter will also be on YouTube. We got 5 guys, we got 3 guys who'll go in the first 16 picks, in Neil Cross and Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa. So you go find all of that on YouTube, and of course my podcast with me and Gabe. And Matt hops on during the season. We have a gambling show too during the season as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Big
fun.
Boys Club
we have a lot of
that's
fun.
the perfect title for everything.
It's Big Boys Club is really cool what they did for the show this year. I'm very excited. And the guys at Fox Digital did a fantastic job putting it
I
together.
love it. You guys know the drill for this one. Just voicemails, text. You know this. We'll be back. It's What Did I Miss? Q, I wish you the best of luck. Get whatever you can.
Okay,
in writing.
wait,
God,
wait,
you got a
wait.
response. Perfect.
I told her, but I left out the homegirl thing originally. And she said, why can't he go on vacation? I go, he's leaving his girl at home to go on a trip with his homegirl for his birthday. His homegirl, yeah, F that shit.
I believe that's called Fiend and Scene.